Hi guys, welcome to The World is Your Bowl of Noodles, Slurp Noodles and Chat. Today's episode, I am the host, Jordan Ibukwe, and today my guest is Charles W. Morgan Jr., who is a nonprofit organization and has created his own nonprofit organization called For Beach Liberia. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more, and please continue to like and share and follow us on our Instagram and all our platforms. But getting into it, Charles, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Thank you very much, Jordan. My name is Charles W. Morgan Jr. from Liberia, and I am a Liberian climate justice activist. I am the co-founder of For Beach Liberia, an environmental conservation organization in Liberia that is carrying on environmental awareness, climate education, and our main goal is planting 1 million trees in the nine coastal counties of Liberia to protect vulnerable communities from climate-induced disasters and to ensure that communities are protected and to have ecological restoration. So these are some of the
That
work
is
that we do, and thank you very much for having me on your platform.
You are so welcome. Thank you for being here. I know you're speaking from Liberia. I know there's a lot of, I talked to a lot of people around the world about climate change, and I wanted to touch on that too and how that affects the environment. I want to know from you, what is the biggest environmental challenges facing Liberia today?
The biggest environmental challenge facing Liberia today is the sea level rise, which is causing coastal erosion. The rapid increase of the ocean tide that keep coming onto the land, it erodes the land, and many homes, because Liberia have nine coastal counties and many people live along the ocean. About 40% of the population live along the ocean, and nine coastal counties. So just imagine when the sea come on shore, many people are affected, and many families lost their homes. And also another challenge has to do with the change in the weather, the change in the temperature, and also there's intense heat wave. These are some of the existential threats of climate change in Liberia, including, um, as I said, heat wave, storm surges, floods that affect the coastal areas. These are the major threats of climate change in Liberia.
I wanted to know because you said there are a lot of people who live in coastal areas in Liberia, and how has the government been helping reduce the amount of infrastructure being destroyed by the rising sea levels?
So the government are taking action to protect the coastal, the coastline from erosion, but these actions are just small actions. And as you see, this is the crisis is already affecting many countries around the world, and we cannot wait for time again to say we're preparing, but we have to act now. Some of the actions that the government have been taking are funded projects by sometimes the World Bank, sometimes international organizations. The government through the EPA has been building coastal walls, but these, as I said earlier, are cannot be able to reach to all of the people that are vulnerable. These they are only in specific areas, and everyone cannot benefit because the funding is not enough for everyone to benefit. Therefore, that's why we are using nature-based solutions, because we do not have the necessary funding to get coastal revertment or to build dikes. That's why we are planting trees to protect these vulnerable populations from climate migration, um, climate-induced what do you call it, affection. So these are some of the work that we're doing. And as I said, the government have been trying their best, but there's a huge need and a huge gap that needs to be achieved. Yes.
Personally, I feel like the government needs to do more, especially in communities all over the world who are not given enough attention by of how climate change is affecting them. Because I know one of my good friends, Tamara Kahutia, she talked about Kenya and how that's climate change is affecting like Kenya a lot, especially in agriculture and the crops. And the government doesn't seem to be doing much for the people. And that's where we need people like you, and we need people all over the world to be putting awareness on the importance of climate change on the oceans, on the lands, and on especially on the trees, because I know there has been an increase in deforestation in all over the world. And I want to know, knowing that your goal is to plant 1 million trees, coconut trees in the beaches, how do you intend on doing that?
So, firstly, I heard you talking about deforestation. Deforestation is one of the major um, issues in Liberia because, as you may be aware, Liberia is home to the second largest remaining rainforest in Africa, and that is the Congo Basin Forest. Liberia have um, about 40% of this forest, more than 40%. Therefore, this forest being a carbon sink, therefore is contributing globally to mitigating the effects of climate change. And but the problem is deforestation caused by illicit mining companies, caused by logging companies, have been affecting the trees and the forest. Therefore, it is the responsibilities of citizens that live within the forest communities to ensure that the forests are protected, the indigenous people of Liberia, to ensure that the forests are protected and to ensure that they benefit from the forest because these indigenous people have been preserving these areas for many years, and as now the forests have been valued and it has have looking at the carbon market, it have had some um, importance to the world. Therefore, these people that are protecting these forests should benefit because they are the ones that are protecting the forest. But the illicit mining caused by companies and the mining caused by companies are some of the issues and some of the challenges that the protection or conservation of our forests face. Talking about the planting of the 1 million trees. The 1 million trees project is very pivotal because as you know planting trees is very important, and also we are planting coconut trees in the nine coastal counties of Liberia. The reason in the nine coastal counties because as I said Liberia have nine coastal counties, and the other counties are just we remove the nine that are along the ocean. The other ones are just about five. So therefore, the other counties about five to six. So the other counties that that are not along the ocean are just few. So many counties are along the ocean and they are at the bricks because and there's projection that by 2030 to 2050, cities like Miami, Japan, countries like Japan, and other countries that are along the coast might be submerged by flooding and might be affected by hurricane. So these counties are at high risk from climate change. And as you are also aware, the largest iceberg in the world has is floating. And as you know, when the ice starts to melt in the ocean tide rises, therefore increasing flooding and other climate-induced um, effects on populations, especially vulnerable populations that do not have the necessary technological opportunities and advancements to protect themselves.
Exactly. You touched on how the indigenous people are protecting the forest because this is their home, this is where they live. And I want to know, how can people learn more about environmental issues that are being held in Liberia and all over the world?
So some ways people can learn and be told about environmental issues are through using various platforms, including the social media, including on-site platforms like awarenesses, including training of indigenous populations, including training of young people, inclusion of women, youth, inclusion of government and civil society participation and partnership, also international and local cooperation, and also global cooperation from countries to countries, and for countries to also remain committed to the Paris Agreement and ensuring that the practical lies what is in the document and not just talk it but to take action about it.
I believe taking action is very important because once we take action, we are making it clear that we what we want is what we want. We're going to do it no matter what the circumstances is. If it's for a good cause, if it's for helping people, if it's for decreasing climate change, if it's for bringing more trees, then you have the ability to do that. It's all about taking action on what you want. And due to that, I want to know, what are the benefits of trees for the environment and the people of Liberia, and how would that help the ecosystem too?
Trees are very important for the environment, and if everyone in our world right now just plant a single tree, we will have about 8 billion trees plus planted. So I firstly advise everyone to plant a single tree from now to 2030. Everyone in the world, just plant a single tree as your contribution to mitigating climate change by 2030. So the importance of the trees are: trees increase vegetation cover, trees protect the soil from erosion, trees protect communities from storm surges, trees, especially coconut trees, boost tourism. They also contribute to livelihoods of communities. Trees are also important because they sequester carbon from the atmosphere, and they store carbon um as they store carbon and they keep them. So trees help in climate change mitigation by reducing carbon, and trees also help in climate change adaptation by protecting the soil and by restoring lost ecosystems. So trees are very important and they contribute immensely to our world, and they contribute immensely to protecting ecological species and to also ensuring that our climate is is controlled and ensuring that we have a balanced ecosystem.